But yesterday was a big day for space. After an 8-month delay, a rocket was sent into space by Texas-based company Celestis, and that rocket included the remains of 330 people. So those people, after their death, they now get to remain in space, possibly forever.
That had to be an expensive setup.
Yeah.
For their fam.
Well, it depends. Like some of the remains belong to George Washington. Maybe you've heard of him.
He didn't think he was going to space.
Yeah, he didn't even know what space
away.
was. It was, what was it, 1700s? George
Yeah,
Washington was around?
He was thinking, bury me in the ground. He wasn't even thinking cremation, I don't think.
No, yeah. He probably thought that the sun revolved around the earth.
So now we're just blasting him wherever we want. We just own George Washington now?
Yeah, are we allowed to do that?
That seems kind of unethical.
It's too late
Who's
now.
signed off on that?
I don't know who's in charge of that. But who's in charge of George Washington's remains? But he's one of the people. I have to imagine they didn't blast all of George Washington into space.
Well, also this, George Washington was for sure buried into the ground.
Yeah.
How did they get him? I mean, do I have to even finish the sentence?
Yeah. No,
in the rocket?
I had a similar thought. I was like, I'm actually impressed that they were able to preserve George Washington for this long. In those days, I know the Egyptians, like thousands of years ago, were mummifying people, but how much of that knowledge carried over to the, revolutionary United States era? Revolutionary.
I'm going to say zero. I'm going to say zero.
I didn't think they were preserving people that well.
His casket?
But evidently.
This feels so wrong.
But he wasn't the only one.
This is illegal, actually.
There's 329 other folks that had their remains
even
blasted
more
into
illegal.
space, including the creator, this is fitting, the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry. His remains
he might have
also
signed up for that.
It seems like something he might have wanted. JFK, also.
Maybe he signed up for it. How do you
think?
get on this list? Who asked
Space
you
was
this?
a pretty big thing when JFK, because that was shortly before, we went to space.
Yeah.
To the moon. So he might have been into it. Probably a big NASA fan. I don't know. Guess I could read up on that. But yeah, and then 327 other people who are probably less famous now have their remains in space as well, thanks to this company sending them into space with the inaugural Celestis' inaugural Enterprise flight.
Yeah, it just feels wrong. It feels like we're just doing whatever we want with people.
I mean, George Washington notwithstanding, I think most of the other ones, probably them or their families, their surviving families, have probably signed off, agreed to this, thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I know they think it's a cool idea, but I also could see many of these guys and gals being like, I want to be buried where I grew up.
Yeah.
Where I lived. I want it in my own backyard. That's where I made all my memories. Put me in the ground.
I really don't
here.
think anybody they shot into space, I don't think they had that accent, if I had to guess.
I would say George Washington probably pretty close to that.
He probably sounded British, I would think.
And you don't think that he was one of those guys that was like, put me in the ground here where I created this country?
Well, I mean, at what point does the statute of limitations, expire?
I guess once you're
yeah.
I guess once you're just like a 300-year-old person, then you're just like essentially a character that we've just created. We can just do whatever we want with.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Who's going to stop us?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to would you want any of your remains to go into space? Set the record straight right now.
I would say no. So 300 years from now, if you try to set me up there, know that I did not consent to this. You have me on the record. If you like that video, there's a ton more. Go check out our past videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.